This is another Poets at War General Report. And here's your General, Joshua David Ling.
Good luck.
What's up? It's been a minute since I've done a one-shot General's Report, which is what I think this is going to be. A little bit of editing. I've done some cool stuff recently. Since getting my M1, I've been deep diving into OBS, making a whole bunch of improvements to the way I record things, and Lord willing, some streams. But streams are secondary at the moment to my main plans with OBS and other. I've also been delving into some other things, and a particular favorite poem of mine from GK Chesterton. Hi Peter, what you doing? You just checking me out? That's okay, you can watch smoke down there. You don't have to be right next to me for smoke. In fact, it's probably better if you're down there watching me smoke instead of up here. So, yeah, The Hunting of the Dragon by GK Chesterton. I've kind of gone through it a couple of times. Poets at War and various things, but I don't think I've done a deep dive, and I realized I had a lot more to say about it after explaining it to Hazel a little bit. When we went hunting the dragon, in the days when we were young, we tossed the bright world over our shoulder as bugle and baldric slung. Never was world so wild and fair as what went by on the wind. Never such fields of paradise as the field, or never such, something of paradise as the fields we left behind. And that's one of those things that it's a very exultant, exciting explanation of what it's like to go on an adventure, to be a man, as the poem was going to talk about, to be a boy or a girl or anybody, to be human, to go on an adventure, to conquer, to live, to enjoy all the good things that God has given. And then the next verse, let's see, I think the next verse is this. I could be wrong. You can look it up, find out for yourself. But this is really the next turn in the poem. For men grow weary of fairyland when the dragon is a dream. There's probably another verse about the dragon, introducing the dragon. What's up? I'm talking to my phone, you know that, right? Oh, they're outside playing. So, basically, the poem goes on. You can look it up yourself, but I'm also going to have a full version of it here shortly, so don't you fret. It says, men grow weary of fairyland when the dragon is a dream, and tire of the talking bird in the tree, the singing fish in the stream. And the wandering stars grow stale, and the wonder is stiff with scorn. For this is the honor of fairyland and the following of the horn. So we get bored. We get bored of going on adventure when things are chill. We start to get used to things being chill. This is something I've been dealing with my own life. I think everybody has, to a certain extent. A lot of stuff is calmed down, quote unquote. I use quote unquote because it really hasn't. But people are feeling like it is, partially due to weather, partially due to other factors, but there's still a lot of major fights going on in the world. We're still definitely poets at war. Real war. So, with all this being said, people get complacent. They don't work as hard, they don't adventure as hard. And they forget about the dragon. And the following of the horn, follow the horn. When it blows, you gotta follow it, right? So let me light up real quick. And so, go on, you don't need to be near the smoke. Silly goofballs. And so, the poem continues on, and it says, the sages called him a shadow, called the dragon a shadow. Meaning a lie, or a legend. And the light went out of the sun. And then they said that all was well and all was weary and one. But then in the quiet garden with never a weed to kill. So even in the garden, you're not even having to kill weeds. Everything's super complacent. Right in that moment, the dragon strikes. We heard that his shining tail had shone in the white road over the hill. We saw that the sky was flakes of flame. We knew that the sunset fire was red with the blood of the dragon, whose death is the world's desire. The dragon's obviously Satan. I feel silly even saying that. Y'all smart enough to figure that out. But yeah, it's time to go fight. The last verse, for the horn was blown in the heart of the night that men should rise and ride, keeping the tryst of a terrible jest, never for long untried. Tryst is a word, it means like a meeting or a promise kind of a thing, like this is your duty, right? Drinking a dreadful blood for wine, never in cup or can. Taking your communion probably, knowing GK Chesterton, but also at the same time dealing with the viscera of the situation of a dragon. Gotta kill him. Drinking a dreadful blood for wine, never in cup or can. The death of a deathless dragon, that is the life of a man. And so, with that, what does this have to do with my daily ongoing talking to you, spewing out the things I'm working on? Well, I began to play with something called Udio, and it's sort of the latest breakthrough in AI music, and there's been a lot of back and forth over the last year about AI, and I've been quietly using it in mine, both for art, both for other things. And Udio is pretty interesting. It lets you create a section, and there's some other ones that do this sort of thing, but Udio does it best that I've seen. Lets you create a section of a song at a time, and so like a verse or a chorus or a bridge, it doesn't really matter what it is. And yeah, so I've always wanted a version of The Hunting of the Dragon as a song, and I began to craft it as sort of like an Ireland's Call, Celtic Thunder choir choral piece with strong male solos. And it gave me something very different. It actually gave me a late 70s progressive metal sort of Twisted Sister meets Dio meets Iron Maiden sort of thing. And I was intrigued, and so I had to complete it. And I did. And I'm blown away by it. And I'm going to present it to you here, and I will also have a link in the description down below for that song by itself, with the lyrics and everything for you to enjoy as part of my sometimes used Jubal's Wardrobe music project. Jubal's Wardrobe, by the way, that's my dad's name for his radio show. I use it for my music as an artist name, right? Jubal's Wardrobe. It's a combination of the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and Jubal from Scripture, who was the father of all who played music in Genesis, played instruments. So, with that, I want to speak to those who are very anti-AI for just a second. Alex, my friend, a friend of the show, you've seen him on Poets at War, you know who I'm talking about. He heard this and was just absolutely blown away. And he sees a lot of the point. I won't speak for him, but he sees a lot of the point in AI now, even though he's been a fence sitter, and we both agree there's a million ways it can be used for evil, but it is approximation. That was the thing that was a revelation to him, and I'm using this term now a lot more, approximation. Okay. I might do a vocal cover of this song in the future. I'm actually really seriously thinking about it because I've always loved to sing power metal style stuff. It's a lot of fun. But the approximation is a huge part of art. You take something, you give it something vague, and then you deepen it and further it and further it and further it. And the furthering process is not the creative process. There are creative things that can happen in there, and you don't want to disregard those things, but those are not the creative process. The creative process starts here. And that has not changed with AI. That has not changed. Everything comes from here and here. Now, yes, people can prompt badly and have bad beginnings here and here. They can even have evil beginnings here and here. In fact, most of the time, they do. Which is why you have to train yourself as an artist to do better. I'm a Calvinist. I believe in the total depravity of man. But I also believe that God, in his infinite wisdom, not only restrains the hand of the evil, but he's actually changed the heart of the righteous. And that they can do good now. And yeah, there's a lot of things that are not Christian. There are some companies that have Christians in them. And we need to be taking dominion over this crazy breakthrough. And many of us aren't. So, with that, I present this not as a, hey, here's a cool thing that I'm experimenting, even though that is part of what it is. Alex wanted me to present this to you in a way that was like, here's a cool song. Here's a poem, GK Chesterton. Here's a cool song version. Oh yeah, everything you just heard is AI. I'm not going to do that to you. You guys are too intelligent for that. You are going to be nitpicking this. At least some of you. You are going to be worried about this, that, or the other. You're going to be this, if you're a musician, you're going to be like, Just enjoy this for what it is. Because GK Chesterton wrote this poem probably close to a century ago by now. It is gorgeous. It is beautiful. It's wonderful poetry. And it's done in such a way that it really resonates those words, those lyrics, that poetry. And so we're going to go ahead and hit that. And we'll be talking soon. Oh, also, really briefly, keep watching Poetry for Warriors Daily. And we're going to be having some more news in regards to that. And podcast feeds and organization coming up soon. But here it is, The Hunting of the Dragon by Jubal's Wardrobe.
When we went hunting the dragon, in the days when we were young, we tossed the bright world over our shoulder, as bugle and baldric slung. Never was world so wild and fair as what went by on the wind. Never such fields of paradise as the fields we left behind. For this is the best of a rest for men, that men should rise and ride, making a flying fairyland of market and countryside. Wings on the cottage, wings on the wood, wings upon pot and pan, for the hunting of the dragon, that is the life of a man. For men grow weary of fairyland when the dragon is a dream, and tire of the talking bird in the tree, the singing fish in the stream, and the wandering stars grow stale, and the wonder is stiff with scorn. For this is the honor of fairyland, and the following of the horn. Beauty on beauty called us back when we could rise and ride, and a woman looked out of every window as wonderful as a bride, and the tavern sign as a tabard blazed, and the children cheered and ran, dragon. That is the pride of a man. The sages called him a shadow, and the light went out of the sun. And the wise men told us that all was well, and all was weary and one. And then in the quiet garden, with never a weed to kill, we knew that his shining tail had shone in the white road over the hill. We knew that the clouds were flakes of flame. We knew that the sunset fire was red with the blood of the dragon, whose death is the world's desire. For the horn was blown in the heart of the night, that men should rise and ride, keeping the tryst of a terrible jest, never for long untried. Drinking a dreadful blood for wine, never in cup or can. The death of a deathless dragon, that is the life of a man.
For more insightful blogs and vlogs and videos on how to be a true bard, please visit joshuadavidling.com.
God of song said